Tony D and Little Joan with a screenwriter's rant on Double Blind, a horror movie about people who they go and use themselves as guinea pigs to test pharmaceuticals, and then something goes horribly wrong. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. Links in the description. Comedy horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys, books 1 through 13, available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. I've known people who have done this. I tried to do it myself, but I couldn't get on a high enough paid one that I thought was okay. These days, I would absolutely not do it. I'm like petrified of what the hell they would experiment on people. I've heard horrible stories. One of the things I know a guy who did, and he got paid $5K for this. They actually, after they gave him the drugs and tested him and whatnot, they actually took part of his buttocks, like, a section of his skin out of his body and kept it. And I just thought, oh my God. So he's got, like, I guess a permanent scar on his butt. It's just fat, but still gross. Anyhow, so this woman signs up, and I mean, it rings true. Like, it's young people, they're desperate for money, they sign up for the experiment, they think it's going to be easy money, and this one is another common one. They tell them to stay up, take the drug and stay up. That's part of the test. I've heard that too. It's a test on either sleeping pills or whatever, and then they're constantly, examining them during the process, and maybe they inject them with something, but something goes horribly wrong. Maybe they're trapped in the place. Maybe the drug is not what they thought it was, and now they're going crazy. This guy says you can't go to sleep or you'll die, but maybe he's gone crazy, and then, people are hallucinating. You don't know what's real, and then this is sort of the end of the trailer. She finds herself levitating, but is that real? Right? Is that real, or is she just imagining it? It can kind of go either way in a movie like this, because first off, you got lack of sleep, and that causes you to hallucinate. After 72 hours, you'll start hallucinating, or that's sort of like when it probably begins. Then you got the drugs, so they could impact you in some bizarre way. And then you got the fact that it's just a horror movie, right? So maybe there's some supernatural element here that I'm missing. But it's definitely grounded in an interesting reality, I say. And it's a good name, Double Blind, because that's what they call it. A lot of times it's a double blind test. So they've done the test a bunch of times, and then, they have, I think double blind means they have, one person gets the drug and then two people don't get the drug. I think that's how the double blind works, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. But, I could see this being a freaky horror movie. So first act, a woman gets there. It's all very clinical and routine, and she tells her the deal, and then she meets the other participants in the double blind study. And they're like her, they're young, they needed money, and it's all good, and they're gonna spend the next, I don't know, depends on what you sign up for. Sometimes it's a couple of weeks, sometimes it's more weeks, but you come back and forth. But sometimes you have to stay there for a certain length of time. So at first, it seems fine. Then, as they're progressing in the movie, in the second act, things are odd. They start hearing rumors. Maybe they find stuff on their phones and whatnot. Maybe they can't get a signal out, but one guy can, or they ban phones, but one guy smuggled it in. One guy definitely has a phone, because he mentions that in the trailer. They may ban phones because under the pretense of everything's proprietary and they don't want anything to get out in the study or whatever, and he maybe sneaks in his phone. Anyhow, as it progresses, something's gone wrong. They start asking questions and not really getting the answers they want. Maybe somebody starts to go cuckoo bananas or request out, and they suspect that the person was killed or died. But they don't know that for sure. They wouldn't know that for sure until later in the movie if somebody actually is killed. Somewhere about halfway to a little more than halfway in the movie, they realize they have to get out of there, but the company won't let them out of the facility or whatever. They threaten them in different ways, but then they just basically lock it down and say, no, we're not letting you out until this is over. You signed a contract or whatever. So then it's like the race is on to like, can they get out? But they haven't slept, and this one guy says, if you go to sleep, you'll die. So, is that real, or is that part of his hallucination? It all comes to a head, of course, in the third act, in which I think they end up fighting the corporate goon who runs this program to get out of there. I think probably a bunch of them die or kill each other, and then the final battle is with the woman who set the whole thing up, and then they escape. Now, it's a horror movie. It could end like, sadly, or the way a horror movie ends. Like, one of the ways a horror movie might end is someone finally escapes the facility, and they're so excited to be free. Finally, they don't realize they're standing in the middle of a road, and they get hit by a car, and they're killed, and that's the end of the movie. Something like that, or they died inside the facility, but they hallucinated getting out, and you realize at the end of the hallucination, it goes back to her just dying, and she dies, and like they record the time of death, and then ship her body away, and that's the end of the movie too. Or most likely, it's going to end with a more happy ending. She's fine, but she continues to get weird hallucinations. Now, it might tie into some weird superpower too, like this, being able to levitate, being able to see things. I don't know. It doesn't seem to play up that aspect of it, but I kind of like it. I think it's a good grounded horror, because this is, pharmaceutical companies are powerful, so they make an interesting nemesis. There's something to say about the world we live in at the same time, and it's a fear that I think people will be like, oh yeah, that sounds like something I might have to do if I ran out of money or whatever, or that people do. And, if you play this to the height of the character's intelligence, I think it could be very good. All right, here we go. After an experimental drug trial goes awry, the test subjects face a terrifying side effect. If you fall asleep, you die. Trapped in an isolated facility, panic ensues as they try to escape and somehow stay awake. So maybe that is true. You will die if you go to sleep. In which case, though, at what point does the drug end? Like, maybe you have to stay awake to a certain time and then you get it out of your system, or you have to take something else? I don't know. But could be very interesting. Yeah, it's called Double Blind. Did we have a date on this? I think we did. February 13th. Buy or rent. I don't know about buying it, but maybe rent that. Yeah, maybe rent that. I guess it's not getting a theater release. On Blu-ray, March 26th. No, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I mean, but it looks cool. It looks very cool. So that's it for me, Tony D, and Little Joan. Check us out on Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble for our more base take. And check out me at the Tom's River show. This is the Jersey Shore comic book show, Cabin Fever, they call it, from 10 to 4 tomorrow in the Tom's River Elks Lodge in Tom's River, New Jersey. Hope to see you there. We'll see you tomorrow.